Well, welcome back everybody to Motorsport Manager and the Haas playthrough in the Fire mod. I think it was pretty unanimous last time that we were pretty unlucky. 12th place with Leclerc was a pretty good result, and he would have been in the points, as a lot of you pointed out, without the mistake in the pit stop. And Magnussen was on for a great result until he crashed out. So, apart from that, it all went swimmingly. But, as we know, we're still third in the championship. We've still got a really good chance of finishing there. Williams, Force India and Red Bull are the competition. And it's going to be close till the finish, really. Only 12 points between us. 12 points, 22 points, sorry, between Red Bull and us. So we could finish, theoretically, in any of those positions. So we just have to crack on and see what we can do. And it's really difficult to decide, really, what we do. Because we either continue to develop the car at a rapid rate and try and make it as competitive as possible to go for that third place in the championship. But I am a little bit worried about that because I feel the headquarters will catch up with us because, of course, the AI are developing their headquarters and everything else at the same time as well. So we would get left behind in that. And if we finished third this season, the expectation next year would surely be higher. And just in case we have a bad season, that could not work out too well. So let's have a look how we're getting on. So, I mean, we're still weak in everything apart from the gearbox and the engine. But the gearbox is the only one that we're above average now. The engine has actually slipped right down to 8th best because I don't think we've actually improved it all season. No, we haven't. So, I'm going to keep developing for the moment. But we do have to set a cut-off point at some point. Where we just say enough is enough. So I'm going to go for the brakes. Haas are always pretty bad in the brakes. So let's try and improve that as much as possible. We'll go plus 25 to both deceleration and get those built as quickly as we can. Now, voice isn't too good today. So that's a bit of a problem. But we'll soldier on and hopefully it'll get better as we go along. And yeah, it's just going to be nicking points where we can. I think a lot of it will be luck of the draw. Because especially Red Bull and Williams, I would expect to pull ahead of us at some point during the season. But we've been saying that for quite a few races now, and it just hasn't happened. Red Bull keep making some strange strategy decisions, and it's really not helping them. Right, we could pay for a vote. Now, I have no idea how many we've got in hand. We have additional voting power of 3. So we could potentially swing something. But I don't know what's going to benefit us the most. Now I thought about maybe standardising a part that is that we're lowest at to sort of get rid of one of the areas the AI can beat us on. So refueling would be interesting, but I feel wouldn't benefit us massively. I feel a spec part, something that we can save on, would help us out at this point. Now, what have we got built? Because a lot of this will depend on what buildings we've yet to build. So we haven't built simulator, handling development. Yeah, I reckon maybe suspension. If we can get a standard suspension on. Brakes we're just paying for, so that'd be pretty stupid to do. And suspension is actually quite high though. Maybe one of the wings. Rear wing we are lowest on the grid. To be fair, brakes were worst on the grid as well. But I think rear wings, that could potentially be something we could swing. We're making plenty of money, so I don't mind sparing $1 million. To try and save us some money and get us a bit more competitive in one area. So I'm going to go for spec rear wings. Also something that I don't think would be a terrible idea in Formula 1 itself. Because that's where all the problems start, from the bad wake being thrown off by these very complicated cars. And I feel a spec rear wing would actually help that. But I think that's a good vote. If we can get it passed. You know what our luck is like in these. We normally throw so many points at it, and we still don't get the votes. But we'll see. We're going to use all our voting power for... Come on, surely this time. I bet you it's a draw and John Todd decides it. That's what's always the case. Come on, lads. Oh, Claire, what you doing? Oh, good boy. Thingy. I can't remember. I can never remember his name. Bob Fernley? I want to say Bob Fernley. I don't think that is Bob Fernley, though. I think it's going to pass. It's passed! Hurrah! Right, stock rear wings. I think that's good for us. It's one thing we don't have to develop in. And it's one of our weakest areas. So I think that's good all round for us. Right, what are we improving? I forgot to actually check this section. We're pretty good on reliability across the board at the moment. Engine's nice and high, which we want. Oh, the new brakes have actually finished. We could have maybe got them ready for the race, but we'll continue to improve performance as much as we can on the parts we've got. Oh, we've already built some brakes. We obviously did that last time, and I completely forgot. Good job we were on the same train of thought and actually built some more brakes. That's obviously my thought pattern last time. Great minds think alike, and no more alike than your own brain. Is that? That's a sentence. Right, let's carry on, and we are nearly ready for Guildford then. And I don't think there'll be any changes to the car. So let's go for our usual split. Looks like we're going to have a bit of rain in race and the practice, so could be a chance for a good result here. And as I said, I don't think we'll be making any parts because we haven't got those brakes ready in time. If we'd noticed a bit earlier, we could have maybe got them ready. But it's not too much of a problem, is it? Right, as per usual then, I shall get practice underway and be back with you guys for qualifying. Right, into qualifying we go then. It was a pretty difficult practice session. Once again, mixed conditions make it very difficult to get any kind of practice on one type of tyre. We did manage to max out soft trim though, so hopefully we should be good for the race if they're tyres we're going to be using, which I feel most races we're using the medium and all the soft tyres. I try to always use the soft tyres as much as possible, especially considering we normally qualify around the top 10 or just outside it. And I feel you can't really get the benefit of the super soft tyres when you're starting that low down. Hopefully we'll be surprised and one of our two drivers will get themselves nicely up in the top 10, but we will wait and see. So Leclerc is the first across the line then. He does a 1:11.9. Sorry, a 1:12.3. Magnussen does a 1:11.9. So first blood to K-Mag. And looking fairly competitive from Magnussen. We got quite a few big names still to go in there. We've got the Red Bulls and the Ferraris filtering in now. But once again, it looks like we're about where we need to be with one car and quite way off the pace with the other. And it seems which of the two drivers fills each role seems to change week to week. But if Leclerc can find a nice improvement and Magnussen can maybe... well, if he can keep himself where he is, he's where he needs to be. And, you know, their qualifying pace, Red Bull, it's really surprising that they're not performing this year. And I don't know why that is. I think it's their strategy calls, really. They always seem to put themselves out into traffic or take one extra stop than is necessary. And that's what seems to do them in. So, hopefully we can maybe get in amongst them. But 7th and 8th is what I would like to be achieving almost every race with our car. If we can get it close enough to the midfield, close enough to those top 3 teams that we can pull out as the fourth, you know, the best of the rest slot, then I feel we've got a real base to build on. But we're not there yet. The car is still all over the place, really, as is shown by the two drivers. But as you can see, from sort of Magnussen and Perez backwards, there's only half a second to the back of the grid. So that is why, you know, it's very random as to where we finish. It depends on whether our drivers turn up in qualifying or not. So far, K-Mag has. So let's see what he does on his second run. And say, if he can find an improvement, and Leclerc needs to find a big improvement, I'm sure everybody else out there will improve as well. Although quite a few cars staying in the pits, surprisingly. a whole swathe of cars there not going for another run. So could be a big opportunity for Leclerc to jump up here. And Magnussen has dropped to 10th, so needs an improvement. So Leclerc crosses the line, does improve, goes 11th. And Magnussen improves as well to stay ahead of his teammate and go back up into 9th then. And once again, it's the Force Indias and the Williams that we're fighting with, showing that that's about where our pace is. It's not, as the graphs would suggest, the worst car on the grid. That's about where our pace is with the Williams and the Force Indias, and I'm sure it's going to be a heated battle for those last few points paying positions once again. So let's get on to the race, shall we? And once again, strive to get some points out of this. We'll have to see how it goes. So we will be going for soft tyres and race trim. With Magnussen, of course, we will be going with the race trim and push the limit. Now, we know there's some rain on the way, but it doesn't look like it's going to be in the first half of the race. So that should make positions a little bit, well, strategy a little bit easier. So let's see what is expected from the tyres then. So if it was to rain around about lap 16, the mediums might just about make it. But other than that, I think we're going to have to stop anyway. So I'm going to go with the soft tyres on one car, split strategies again. Actually, we should probably go the other way around with that. I think we're going to go mediums on Leclerc. And we'll go soft tyres for K-Mag. See if he can get himself involved in the top 10. And see if Leclerc, starting from 11th, can string it out. Maybe till some rain. We'll have to see. That rain icon is normally misleading when there's no rain for the first half of the race. It will probably be right at the end, meaning any sort of attempts to string it out until the rain comes are fruitless. But we're underway then, and Magnussen's made a pretty good start up to P6 already then. K-Mag absolutely flying off the grid. And he's just got past Vettel as well. And I think he's going to get past Bottas as well and up into 4th place. What a start from the Dane. Leclerc, meanwhile, dropping back down the field, back down to 15th, but he's playing the long game on those medium tyres. But Magnussen has done exactly what he needs to do on those soft tyres. Got himself in amongst the super soft runners. And if he can stick around until their tyres start to go off, then he could be in a real race for some good points here. 19 degrees, so not too warm. I would expect we're probably going to have to push a little bit on those mediums to keep them up to temperature. But we'll stay on neutral for the moment. And see if he can keep enough heat in them to get the maximum performance out of them whilst keeping them in good shape. As long as it doesn't drop into that lower quarter, I'm okay. But it looks like it might for Leclerc. Now, of course, we did have a dry race. We could do a one-stop on the mediums here, as long as they last well enough. But a pretty considerable chunk of life taken out of them already. And yeah, they're struggling to keep temperature, so we're going to have to push. Which is a bit of a double-edged sword, really, because it means that we have to take a bit out of the car as well as just the tyres to keep them warm. But I think that's the best thing to do so we don't get left behind at this early stage. Magnussen, meanwhile, has dropped back through the field, as was to be expected, really. It was just a cracking start from him that put him in a position he shouldn't really have been in. But he's right where he needs to be. So, as we thought, we got the Williams and the Force India pair around us. And once again, then, it's a bad start from Red Bull, and Ricciardo is down to 10th. Verstappen doing pretty well in P3 though. But let's not worry about them just yet. Let's make sure Magnussen can hold on to the back of this group and doesn't start to fall away then. So Ocon, Perez and Auer. Stroll has stopped already then onto the medium tyres, so must have had an incident that caused him to pit some repair some damage maybe. Leclerc, meanwhile, because he's pushing and he's still got that fuel on high, he is already looking for a way past Giosso. Who's Giosso rating? Where is he? Oh, Russian time. I was going to say. Must have come up with someone from Formula 2. I've never seen him hired before, so that's why. And we might have to turn the engine down now. I think I'll do that on Magnussen for the moment. He's in a pretty good position. Leclerc, I want to try and get past Giosso if we can. And then turn the engine down. Because he's showing good pace here. If he can get onto the back of his teammate, then we've got both cars right where they need to be to get some points. But we need to choose the right moment here to get past Giosso with the boost. And he might do it all on his own, you know. He's trying. Right, let's use it out of this corner. Down the main straight. Through he goes and back it back off again. That's what some people have been suggesting we do. Make sure we only use it on the straights. I could have used it a little bit more efficiently there, but that was more efficient than we have been. So, I'm happy with that. Alright, tyres not looking great, you know. To be fair, we're at 54% and they should do 16. Let's go back to neutral for Leclerc and let's drop that fuel off now. He's got past Giosso. So he doesn't give Magnussen too hard a time. But if he's got more pace, then Magnussen will have to make way. Some stops coming in from the super soft runners then. Both Williams have now pitted. Ricciardo, Ocon and Van Dorn. Both Red Bulls are pitted actually as well. Verstappen coming in. So once again, Red Bull not very good on their tyres. And this is what's been hurting them this year, you know. So, could be in with a chance late in the race once again to beat some Red Bulls maybe. Right, let's use that down the straight from Magnussen. Let's use some more down this straight. Gets to the corner, turn it off. And then we'll use a little bit more down here. Once again, turn it off. This is what I think we should have been doing, just using it a bit more effectively. I think he can do one more lap on those soft tyres, but I think Magnussen is almost committed to a two-stop, having started on those soft tyres. Let's use the rest of that boost down the straight then, and he can come in this time around. Right, do we go medium so that we can definitely run the super softs for the final stint, or do we go 2 more sets of softs? I think we go for pace, sort of pretty decent pace all the way through. Ah, rain. Rain, rain, rain. Mediums it is. And hopefully... Oh, I keep doing that. I know we can do it and we don't take any penalty, but I don't want to do it because it's cheating. It's cheating, I tell you. Right, so if we can hold out till the rain with Magnussen then. Leclerc is definitely not going to make it to the rain. Which means we could potentially pull him in a little early and put him on some mediums again. Or we keep him out for the entirety of his stint and maybe put him on some soft tyres until the rain. We'll have to wait and see how well they last. If they fall off a cliff suddenly, then we're going to have to bring him in. Right, no mistakes on the pit stops today, boys. It's a little bit slow. I think we need to go back to maybe manually managing the pit crew, because we've not done too well in the pit stop times. They're coming down and down, going up and up, sorry. And 4 seconds is... yeah, it's not great for a Formula 1 pit crew. We'll see what Leclerc does, but that's generally a trend that we're around about 3.5, 4 seconds, and I know we could be quite a bit quicker. So Magnussen's come back out in 18th. His late stop has put him behind everybody that he was racing, but they will have to pit one more time before the rain, so I still feel we're in the driving seat here with K-Mag. And Leclerc will be in the same situation. He will come back out quite a way behind these guys, but he will at least be able to go until the rain comes. So we're 14 laps in now, and I feel to be safe I want to go onto the soft tyres with Leclerc to have some better pace. So to be safe on that, we want to go a couple laps longer, and then we can then we have no doubt that they'll be able to last until the rain comes then. So I think that's going to be our big plus this race, is that the AI will have to pit twice for the rain, whereas we should only have to pit once. Some of these medium tyre runners might be able to make it, the likes of Ricciardo and Ocon, but it's going to be close for them. Right, Leclerc holding his own considering he hasn't stopped yet. He's still up there in 3rd. I'm wondering if we just take it one more lap, because the tyres are good for it, and then if we need to, we can push on those soft tyres right before the end. Now I feel we want to try and clear the traffic if we can, rather than react to what we come back out in. So let's use the boost now to get him as far ahead as he can, and maybe he might even be able to come back out ahead of Magnussen, but I don't think that's going to happen. He'll probably come back out, unfortunately, right in this little gaggle of super soft runners of Giotto, Gasly and Markolo. But we will see. Need a good pit stop again. That's a good one. Once again, just over 4 seconds though. He's going to come back out ahead of Magnussen, you know. And Magnussen being stuck up behind the traffic has not done him any good at all then. So Leclerc is quids in here. Magnussen not far behind, to be fair. And those that started on the medium tyres have now put on the super softs. And they should be okay till the rain, but they'll be pretty low on tyre life once they get to it. So I feel we can probably push on these soft tyres with Leclerc. And we're already pushing with Magnussen. And I feel we can probably turn the engine up a little bit now. Now, we need to get Magnussen past Giotto if we can. So let's give him a little boost round here. And there we go, look at that. Straight past, easy does it, back off the boost. And we'll use it down the back straight to get him out of trouble from Giotto attacking back. So let's use that down there. We probably could have backed it off a little bit early, but we're thinking about using it more efficiently. That's the thing. It's the thought that counts, isn't it? At the end of the day. Right, rain is imminent. Next 4 or 5 laps. So we should both be okay on tyre life. I feel we could maybe even attack, but do I want to look after the car? I think we're okay. Let's attack for a couple of laps. We've got the tyre life to use, and I'm pretty sure we'll make it to that rain. That rain is going to be very heavy. But I still think it would be better to go with intermediates. And then hopefully the AI will be stupid enough to put the wets on, and we can maybe try and stay out on the intermediates. So there might be 2 chances to steal a march on the AI now. Right, okay, I think we maybe need to back off Leclerc's tyres a little bit. It's not getting too hot now. So Vettel's made a second stop. Perez has got... Oh, God, AI, what are you doing? Intermediates for Hamilton, Perez and Gasly. And the rain is nowhere near. Well, it's pretty imminent, to be fair. But they've really jumped the gun there, and they're going to be losing a large amount of time. Right, I'm going to back up on the engine for Leclerc. Make sure he's got a bit more fuel in hand. I think we'll do the same with Magnussen. So for the final stint, we can push all the way to the checkered flag. And both our guys are in a good position. I feel we can fight for points here. And here does come the rain then. I feel one more lap. And what's the gap between the pair of them? It's a couple of seconds. I don't feel I want to wait another lap. So I think we will double stop them. And hopefully we can do a Red Bull and double stack them without any problem. It'd be a little bit risky. But let's try it. Let's take as much as we can out of these tyres on this final lap then. Let's push. And use a bit of boost. I know it's not the most efficient place to use it, but I want to make sure we come back out ahead of who we need to. So Leclerc will be first in. K-Mag will have to wait a couple of seconds for him. 4.2 from both of them, so no mistakes. It's slow, but it's steady. Slow and steady. Won't win the race, but it might get us some points. Right, Christ, let's back off the tyres and make sure these do last to the end, because we 8 laps should be enough on these inters. Yeah, 13 to 15 should be fine. The only question mark now is whether we put wets on for those final 2, sort of 3 or 4 laps. But we'll have to wait and see. Right, some cars pitting now, so let's make sure we use the most of our boost to try and get out ahead of who we can. Leclerc gets himself back up into P9 then. Magnussen up to P12, but Kielwitz is still on super soft tyres. Renault, what are you doing, guys? Is it Renault? It is Renault. So that makes it 11th for Magnussen, and Perez is on very worn intermediates. So there's a good chance for Leclerc to try and get up into 8th here. He's got Ocon behind him. Closing pretty rapidly, to be fair. So this is going to be a struggle to get some points, but we're in the driving seat. We're right where we need to be. It's actually stopped raining. We'll get a little bit more rain in a minute, and then it will get very heavy indeed. So let's look after these tyres, make sure they can get to the end, and then hopefully some of the AI will put some wets on, and we'll be able to stay out on the intermediates. That's the theory anyway. Right, so Kielwitz has pitted, but Magnussen is still 12th. So I presume Hulkenberg's passed him, which isn't great. I think points are going to be a little bit out of reach of Magnussen unless anybody puts the wets on. I feel Magnussen is out of contention for points, so I think we're going to roll the dice with him. I think we're going to put the wets on and see if he can make enough difference over the last 4 laps to make up the time. It's a bit of a risk, but I don't think he was going to get into the points anyway. So we may as well give it a go, and we can attack on these tyres till the end then. Let's see if he can get himself back anywhere near the points. Okay, Leclerc will be leaving out. He's got Ocon for close company. No, we're going to stay out on the inters, guys. We're not on slicks, mate. I don't want to do a Mark Webber with you and have to tell you what tyres you're on. No, they're softs, mate. What the hell are they doing on the car? That's the only Australian accent you're going to get out of me, apart from on a stream, when rage pokes me. Right, we've got quite a bit of tyre life left, so let's push. And we've got quite a bit of charge to use as well to defend from Ocon. That's the only time I want to use it, really, is to defend. We are catching Perez as well, so there's a chance of 8th here for Leclerc. Magnussen is now past the traffic, and let's see how quickly he closes that 6-second gap to Giosso then. But with only 2 laps to go, I think it's pretty unlikely that he's going to get into the points from where he is. Right, 2 laps to go. I feel we can attack on these tyres because they're really not warming up at all. We've got a back marker in the way. And I think we want to use this boost, if we can, in 2 chunks. We want to use one to close up on Perez. So we'll use that out of there. It's got him right up onto the back of him. Now use it down the main straight. Through you go, Charles. You can do it, mate. Up into 8th. Who's next? Daniel Ricciardo, 6 seconds down the road. Very unlikely. But we'll give it our best shot. Magnussen will probably go to overtake for the final lap. His strategy has not worked out. He'll probably end up about where he was. So, nothing gained, nothing lost, nothing gained on that one, really. But Leclerc is going to come around the final corner then to take P8. We will take that. Magnussen will come home in 15th. Those wet tyres really not working as we wanted them to. I don't think there was quite enough time for him to make full effect of them. But we got some decent points from Force India there. I was going to say we've done well against Williams, but Auer is right up there in 5th. He's managed to beat home both Vettel and Ricciardo today. So that's not going to do our championship position much good. Both Red Bull and Williams have outscored us, and we've scored the same amount of points. Actually, we scored 1 more point than Force India. So, not brilliant. But we'll take... Oh, hello. Daniel Ricciardo has been demoted. As they put probably those flexible front wings again. Damn you, Red Bull. He's not getting no luck, Daniel Ricciardo. So we actually come P7 from them. So we take home 6 points. And because Ricciardo was just ahead of us, Auer does not get a promotion. So we only lose 4 points to Williams. Red Bull do still gain points on us, but we outscore Force India then. Only by a single point though. So it's Renault that we really steal a march on, but I think they were miles behind us anyway, weren't they? So we stay 7th and 9th in the championship then. Leclerc stays ahead of Ricciardo and gains a bit of ground on Perez. Lucas Auer I remember someone told me in the chat that in the comments that he's Gerhard Berger's cousin, and he's really living up to the pedigree. He's doing a stunning job in that Williams. And to be honest, if it wasn't for him, well, to be honest, both Williams and Force India have standout drivers that are really dragging their team into competition with us. Their second drivers, Stroll and Ocon. Ocon only on 12 points. The same as Fernando Alonso. We need to get Perez out of that Force India. So Williams draw level with us then on 100 points. We're now only 14 points ahead of Force India and 19 of Red Bull, and 19 points ahead of Force India. So it's going to be a bit of a struggle with Williams and Red Bull, but I think we can definitely beat Force India home. And if we get a few lucky results here and there, we can maybe beat Williams or Red Bull. We'll have to wait and see. But we'll take that. It's back in the points. It's a great drive from Leclerc, especially considering where he was really early on there. But I think staying out was the right thing to do because Magnussen got stuck behind traffic after his first stop. And Leclerc, despite being quite a way behind Magnussen, actually came back out nicely in front of him after his stop. So, good race from Leclerc. Unlucky from Magnussen, I think. Maybe just the wrong strategy. But still a good drive from him. Some good improvements across the board. Leclerc is going to start outstripping Magnussen in terms of ability soon. It's just his feedback we need to improve. And some good gains from Ferrucci as well. We have been putting him in as reserve driver, running in practice every race. And I don't really know if they get an added benefit from that. But some good improvements this time. And I've been thinking the last couple of races whether we let Ferrucci go to get better with a Formula 2 team or whoever wants to pick him up. And then we rehire him later on. He will be a bit more costly when we do so. But he's going to develop at a quicker rate than us waiting around for him to be useful. But I do really want an American driver in the car. And look at that. I mean, Formula 2, there's no Americans anywhere to be seen. One place you guys did suggest we maybe look was IndyCar. And there's a possibility we could maybe get an American driver from IndyCar. I mean, who have we got over there? Let's have a look. I think it's GT Series. Do we not have Indy? I thought we had IndyCar in this. Am I going mad? I think I am going mad. What did I see IndyCar in? I don't know. I played a mod that had IndyCar and Formula E. Was that the old Ice mod? I think that was the old Ice mod. Actually. So I don't know where we can find them. These IndyCar drivers. We'll have a look next time maybe. But yeah, no Americans in Formula 3. None in DTM, sorry. One in the GT Masters. De Filippi, 29. Probably have better base stats than Ferrucci, but I really do want a young shot that we can maybe challenge for the title one day. I'm afraid you Americans just don't have much. Menendez, we did think about bringing on instead of Ferrucci. He is a bit better base stats, so it would take a bit less to get him up to scratch. We'll have a think about it. Let me know what you guys think, whether we should maybe let Ferrucci go, because we can't, in this mod, as we all know, there's no option to loan out drivers or do anything like that. So we'll have to release him from a contract if we want to get him in another team and get him improving. And it would involve breaking the contract. We got him on contract for another 29 months. We'll see. We'll see what you guys think. As always, I bow to your ever all-knowing knowledge. And we shall end here for today then. So we're still in the fight for third place. The car is still rock bottom according to the stats, but I think, as we all know, we're pretty close with Williams and Force India. Williams seem to race a little bit better, and Auer is doing a stunning job in that car this year. So if he maybe has a bad couple of races, there's a good chance we can get third. Red Bull are the real danger, though. If they start performing where they can, then we could be in trouble. But we shall end it there for today. As always, if you did enjoy the video, don't hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, you can subscribe as well. Once again, apologies for the longish break between the episodes. I'll try and get some recorded. I'm going to try and get a lot recorded this weekend. So hopefully, we'll see. Hopefully next week will be a bit more consistent and this series will be back nice and regular. But as always, I thank you guys for your patience and your support. I hope you enjoyed the episode. And I'll speak to you again very soon.